talking about going to Africa?
Yeah.
What? You got to be crazy.
Yeah,
They're going to eat you.
That's like we're cannibals.
Yes, they're cannibals. They'll eat you. They're going to kidnap you. They're going to snatch your organs. But you know what really got me was when I saw all the Europeans on the planes coming.
Right.
I looked, I said, no, hold on.
The boys call the local girls baller beds.
Oh,
You know,
Oh, but
it's
that's
true.
all right. Wait, what's that mean? I crashed the Egyptian wedding. I'm on the dance floor with the bride and groom. In the middle of the wedding. I mean, you know, the reception. I said, what am I doing here? And everybody's looking at me like,
Yeah.
Maximum impact, y'all.
That's crazy.
that's real.
Stay by plan, Accra, stay by plan. All the boys, all the girls, for stay by plan. Stay by plan, stay by plan. All the boys, all the girls, for stay by plan.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Stay by Plan. As you can see, if you are listening, make sure you watch after. As you can see, me and Jay are matching, and Zuu is completely. He didn't get the memo as usual.
Didn't get the memo.
Wearing
But you guys
red.
don't even really.
No, but like we are
not
all
bad.
in the greens.
Coordinating.
Exactly, like warmth, and you're just there in your football jersey as usual.
As usual, you know.
But yeah, it's Friday. We're recording on a Friday, and I'm excited because it's Friday. How are you guys feeling? Zuu, Jay, how are you guys feeling?
I'm doing well. How are you?
So and so. I'm okay. Let's see what the night brings.
Yeah, we'll take Okay, so we have a very special guest in the studio today. I feel like this episode is going to have a lot of viral moments.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, because we are going to go really deep and go real deep into the nitty-gritties of I don't know if I should call it tourism and intertwining cultures from the Americas and the Africas. Did I get it right? Do you
That's
think
perfect. I think that is a perfect explanation.
Okay, so I think you should just introduce yourself,
Sure.
what you do, and then we'll get right into it.
All right, my name is Jay Cameron from Maximum Impact Travel, and really I focus on bridging the gap between Africa, the continent, and the African diaspora, and making these connections and helping us to understand each other better. And we do that through travel.
Okay.
Yeah. Before we get into the conversation, guys, quick break. We'll be right back. So, guys, in line with today's topic and everything we're discussing, we had to bring this guy on. If you don't know this guy, then you're not really out in Accra. Like, he's making all the places pop, all the music. Guys, I don't want to talk too much. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, so my name is ADDJ, Lord of the House People's Champ, like I like to say, founder of YKTFV, and yeah, residents of Frombach. I have residency at Frombach. I have residency everywhere. I was trying to think, but I can't mention. But yeah,
It's too much.
I'm working.
I understand.
Yeah,
What's YK?
YKTFV.
What does that mean?
You know that I don't know if I can swear on.
You can swear.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
me, I didn't say it. It's all show you can swear, but my show you can't.
Okay, you know the F vibes.
No,
the
say
F,
the original one. I'm joking.
The F stands for anything you want it to be. Freaking
You know the freaking vibe.
fantastic.
It doesn't sound. It's not giving. I feel like that's not the right
You know the
thing.
freaking vibes.
No.
You know
You say the
fresh
original.
vibes.
Say the original one.
What you thought when you named this?
You know the fucking vibes.
Oh
Okay.
my God! Wow!
Wow.
I can't believe you used such a name. That's crazy. bro.
But where did the name come from?
No, so like YKTFV. So the party was all about vibes. Like I was trying to create something. I wanted it to be just free, like just walking, no classism, nothing, where everybody can feel free, right? And it was built on vibes. But like I felt like if you know the fucking vibes, then you are
You'll be
invited.
there.
Yeah. You get me?
That's a good
Yeah.
one.
Real.
That's a good one.
Real.
So how's it been so far?
It's been 2 years so far, and my anniversaries have been great. So I always do like a build up to the anniversary.
Right.
The first one was at Bandor. Like the very first one I did was somewhere in Cantonment.
Okay.
And the anniversary after a year was at Bandor.
Okay.
And I did this year with Garage. And
Okay.
it was crazy. Like I had Kiddy. Like I was opening my laptop to set up, and he was like,
That's crazy.
I'm like, tell me what to do over here.
You know the fucking vibe. That's why I did here.
And it was a vibe from the beginning of my set till the end. Even like before my set, it was crazy. But yeah, It's all vibes all day.
So when's the next one?
Yeah, when's the next one?
December.
Oh,
So
December to remember.
Yes,
December is gonna be crazy, guys.
And this is the first time I'm doing one in December.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So December, there's one 23rd. There might be like some additions to it, but there might be a pop-up one where Ibri has been a place where like we've had the most fun with YKTFV, like for the build-ups before the anniversary. So I want to do like a pop-up. I'll just come online and say, okay, this Saturday, Ibri, this is the location.
Make sure you are following AD.
Yeah,
you get
follow
all
YKTFV, follow
YKTFV,
DJ,
yes.
and let's find the informations quick.
Yeah.
Because before you realize we are there, we are jamming, we've come back.
And then you'll be there having FOMO.
So when I go out and I hear you play, and like obviously most of the time when you play, you take the. Sometimes I feel bad for the DJs who come after you.
Yeah, you set the bar like.
You set the bar high, and it's like you have to match it. So I'm guessing YKTFV is like your thing when it's like you are bringing the vibes back to back for a long time.
So another thing that made me come up with YKTFV is I wanted to establish something that will be forever, right? Even if I'm not there anymore, it will still be. I was facing when it started, I was facing a challenge where I would have a job, like I'll build it to a certain point, it's buzzing. Then now I'm having issues with the owners of the event or like owners of the venue or whatever. So nothing was stable. So I was like, nah, let me create something that will be a vibe and it will be stable forever. So now any day we can just get up and do YKTFV. We don't have to report to nobody. Do you get me? So yeah, setting the bar, telling me I'm just working, I'm just playing music.
Just like how we are the best podcast and we are just we can relate. We can relate.
Just function, you know. But I don't really look at comparing myself to anybody. I just feel like I come, I do what I have to do. If I can, I'll do it. Like last night, I came out from the plane and went straight to the club.
Serious.
Yeah,
back to back. I can relate.
No, because I felt like I could do it. You know, when they asked me, say, are you in town? I said, no, but what time is the set? They said 4. I said, oh, by 4 I should be in town.
Yeah.
So me, I just like to go and do my job.
It is what it is. So I can tell you enjoy your work.
Very much. It's therapeutic for me. I say this everywhere. No matter the mood I'm in, if sometimes when I'm playing music, I'm locked in. Like even though I'm looking at you guys and you're having fun, me, I'm in my head, my own head, enjoying whatever. I'm like, Charlie, this makes us crazy. This girl, Charlie, nah, this one I'll do it again. I'll do this, but I'll be in my own head. So people be like, you're not looking at her. I'm like, Charlie, where I'm at right now, it's just me alone. I'm just vibing.
real. Yeah, when I I don't go out often.
You should.
I should, right? Yeah. So when I come out, hey, what was that?
No, nothing. Say you don't go to public places often, but you have been going out to coded places.
Yes, he's
out. Don't mind you.
Hey, wow. Well, okay. I don't go to the public places you are speaking of. So, but when I do go and I see some of you DJs doing your thing, it makes me want to try it because it looks very fun. So would you say it's fun, or would you say it's like it's not something that you just pick up and do?
It's not something you just pick up.
Whoa, no, people are just.
No, it's something you just pick up and do.
You
but
can make a great career out of it. You know that.
I know it really fits me, but I don't think it's fun.
No, it will.
There's no
but I'm just saying that because now
the two of us will come for classes, and then you put the two of us on. You know the fucking vibe. We all play our sets. You know, I love competition.
So another thing about YKTFV is that we always onboard new talents.
We are the new talents.
So yeah.
You're ready.
We welcome bedroom DJs also.
Bedroom DJs.
But putting it together, like we enjoy what we're doing. It depends on what the vibe is. Like me, no matter the mood I'm in, I would want to jump on and play music. Do you get me? I don't mind. People who want to learn are always open to learn. It depends on how you want to go about it. Like when you come to ask me, I'll tell you YouTube. You might think that I don't want to help you, but like YouTube is number one.
For sure.
Now, if you build from there, you can now add on anything you want. But like the basics are on there. But I think to be a DJ is about your song selection.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're able to select songs depending on what the crowd wants.
And that's why I win. That's exactly why I will win. But it's fine. We don't have to give it to
Now,
you.
why are you talking plain? Yeah,
We don't
put your
have to
money
do
where your mouth is.
Yeah.
Okay?
I'm-
I don't-
I'm
I don't
setting
have
up
to-
a studio.
I don't
You
have
guys
to
start.
fight with him here. I'll fight with him on the I don't even know on the decks.
Hey,
Exactly.
yes,
You don't even know the terms,
I
bro.
didn't want to say that. I wanted
You
to
don't know the
say
terms,
like
bro.
on the floor, like the dance floor. When people are jamming, that's where we'll see who's doing well.
Bet. We'll do that. So yeah, Eddie, thank you so much
Yeah.
for joining us. Is there anything you want to tell the people?
Where should we
before
follow
leave?
you? How can we find
Yeah.
information about the parties?
YKTFV is simple. YKTFV worldwide, everywhere. We are just calling on everybody to come have a vibe with us. If you go to our social media pages, you see that we are just chilling. We don't really have a format. We're just chilling. We are trying to like make everybody know about it, invite everybody. So yeah, this is December. Look out for YKTFV. Myself, ADDJ. If you want to come for any of my parties, ADDJ Music, you find me everywhere.
Okay.
We'll be there.
We'll be there. Do we have to pay to enter?
No. You
see,
guys
do you
are my
understand?
guest list.
But so other people have to pay.
Official December guest
But do
list.
the other
That's
people
right.
have to pay to enter? The people will
It
check.
depends.
It depends on the vibe.
Yeah.
It depends on the vibe. So just follow and then you know what it
If
is.
you know the fucking vibe,
You have
we
to
don't have
pull
to
up.
ask certain questions.
You have to know the fucking vibes to come through. That was a small one. Yep.
All right.
Back to the episode.
Now we are back. I hope you guys enjoyed our session with AD DJ.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm back to Jay.
Sure.
So I've even forgotten what I was coming to ask, but okay, I remember now. What is like one of the greatest culture shocks you got when you came to Ghana? I don't say Africa, to Ghana.
Yeah.
Let's
When
just
you-
start there.
So when you say culture shock, well, it was not what I thought it was going to be,
Okay.
because I was expecting for it to be just this place where everybody was just kind of disheveled and trying to figure it out. But when I got here, the people were exceptionally nice, because what we've been told, many of us have been told in the U.S., is that you all don't like us, and that don't go because they're not going to welcome you, and
Wow.
and so we've heard so many different things. So I had to push through that in my mind to even get on a plane to want to come.
That's crazy.
Never had any issue wanting to go to Europe or anything like that. When it came to Africa, now I had to think. And I'm going to tell you how ignorant I was. I want you all to understand this.
Yeah.
I was so ignorant in the beginning of 2018 when I was planning my first trip to Ghana. I went on Google Earth to try to figure out where I wanted to go. I'm looking on Google Earth trying to find like people running around naked in the streets.
the hell?
It's-
I'm crying.
it was a bad situation. But what happened, I scanned over Accra, Ghana, and I saw the mansions and I saw the swimming pools. And I said, okay, wait a minute.
This don't add up.
It's not adding up. They told me my whole life that, this is someplace you don't want to go.
Yeah.
I said Accra was going to be the first place that I came. And I got off of that plane, and instantly I was ashamed of myself for believing the hype that I had heard and not even doing further investigation. I didn't even have an interest in wanting to come to Africa, anywhere in Africa, until I got to that point of saying, well, why don't I have an interest in going? And I had to take it upon myself to do it. And so that's what happened. That was the biggest culture shock, that it was not what I was expecting.
Yeah, that's crazy, because I feel like not every time, that's an exaggeration. Most of the time you interact with people who they don't have enough information about Africa. First of all, they put all of us in one big Venn diagram with no intersection. We are all in Africa. Africa is a country, first of all. And then they think that there's giraffes just chilling in your backyard. We are running with sticks and then like we are chasing lions, like we are still in the Stone Age. I feel like that's the perception. And I find it so crazy because I think America is like a first world. They should have internet, be able to research and see for themselves. But like you're saying, there's not even an interest to even check and see if what they've been told is true. So they just believe that verbal story that has been passed over again and again, that Africa is just an underdeveloped place with people who can think, and when you go there, they're just going to eat you up because they hate you.
And that too.
Yeah,
They'll eat
literally.
you.
That's like we're cannibals.
Yes, they're cannibals. They'll eat you. They're going to kidnap you. They're going to snatch your organs.
That's
They're going.
crazy.
This is what they tell us. And I'm trying to figure out who they are, because it's stuff that you hear, but it's from people who've never been.
Yeah.
And so, I'm going back in my mind and I'm thinking to myself, all of the things, to your point, yes, the internet is there.
Yeah.
But if you never have an interest See, there was a song that came out back in the 1980s called "We Are the World,"
Yeah.
and the way that Africa was branded to us, it was called USA for Africa. Michael Jackson, Lionel Richie, all these big singers did this big charity campaign.
Yeah.
And so the way that we always saw Africa, oh, these people are poor.
Yeah.
They need porridge. The
Yeah.
babies with the big bellies and the flies.
Yeah, because
and,
even in the video for that song, they had some of those
Exactly.
images in the video. Yeah, I remember that.
Exactly.
and,
True.
and they do this intentionally.
Yeah.
So because now you have people that half of the time the only reason why they want to come to Africa is for charity, and they don't really come and understand the value of the culture.
Right.
And that's the lesson that I learned when I came. I saw how intelligent people were, how resourceful people were. I said, you can find anything you need on the street, going anywhere. You can find a washing machine, you can find furniture, and you can purchase these items. And it's like, you're thinking, well, they don't have anything. I was like, well, no, I'm not seeing the starving people
Yeah.
because there's food on every corner.
Yeah.
There's goats, chickens, cows. There's a produce stand. There's watermelons. There, yams,
Coconuts, everything.
I
Yeah.
said to myself, no, wait a minute. But you know what really got me was when I saw all the Europeans on the planes coming.
Right.
I looked, I said, no, hold on. What y'all doing coming over here? I mean, packed on the planes. I'm looking, I'm saying, 6 rows deep.
Yeah.
And they're getting off the plane like, but y'all said it was bad.
Yeah.
And then when I would see all the Asians on the plane, and the Lebanese, and the Indians. And I'm
There's
like,
something here.
I said,
What
now,
is going
what is
on?
going on? Then I would see who owned all the shops.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
And I said, okay, this is where the wealth really is. But because of the similarities, this is where I saw similarities. What happened on the continent was colonization.
Yeah.
What happened in Brazil and Cuba and the US, that was the transatlantic slave trade.
Yeah.
So that affected our minds in a particular way. And so when it got into our minds, it did something. What it did for many of us in the US as Black Americans, it made us docile. So where we're just kind of subservient to the system. The master said, so we better not say anything because master said. And so then when it came to traveling, a lot of us did not travel.
Yeah.
We would stay in our geographical region. We would
Right.
stay there and we wouldn't go and we were afraid to go out of the geographical region because we didn't know what was out there. So when it came to traveling to Africa, they'll go to the Caribbean.
Wow.
It's everything for somebody to go to the Caribbean. But if you talk about going to Africa,
Yeah.
what? You got to be crazy. And people still are dealing with this.
Yeah.
Oh my God, be safe. Da-da-da.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's the wildest thing when we do tours and I have to sit there and like literally convince people, is it safe? I'm like, you live in the south side of Chicago. You got carjackings going on. You worried about it, but we have schools getting shot up, malls getting shot up. I'm saying to myself, is it safe in Africa? I'm like, I have never felt unsafe in Ghana. I've never felt unsafe anywhere I've been.
Yeah.
So I'm saying to myself, but you know what? I understand it because in our schools, from early childhood, they told us in the school books, our history started with slavery. So there was an intentional effort to make sure we never connected or identified with being African. Even though they labeled us African American, there was still this disconnect.
Right.
But what I see when we come, we taste the food, we see the people, there's no doubt. You don't need DNA. I can take both of you and put you in my family
Yeah.
and you look like someone in my family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that simple. And so but a lot of people don't want to take that chance for
Right.
whatever reason. So but I'm learning more and more as people come, they have the encounter. And then it opens them up, it expands them. And so that's what we're doing here. We're having this conversation and it expands our minds and get a better understanding.
Yeah.
Nice. So
Yeah.
let's track back a little bit and talk about you
Sure.
as a person, your history, your childhood, everything. Like, where are you from? Let's start from there.
All right. I was born in Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay.
So that is also known as the Gullah Geechee part of South Carolina, which has a strong connection to Sierra Leone
Okay.
and that in that part of West Africa. So they have the rice, they have the okra. When you go there, you really feel like that is a part of Africa. You can. That's probably the only place in the U.S. that still feels like, okay, there's this connection because they had this intentional effort to try to erase everything. So I was born there, but I was raised in Washington, D.C.
Right.
Okay.
So being raised in Washington, D.C., I'm around all the politicians. I went to school for elementary school at a predominantly Jewish school.
Okay.
So it was a lot of white Jewish kids there, and there was maybe 2 or 3 Black American, well, there's a few more than that, maybe 10 of us total in the school.
Okay.
So that gave me an understanding of their culture.
Right.
But they didn't teach my culture.
Of course not.
No, no. And so I knew their culture very well.
Yeah.
And celebrated Hanukkah and Yom Kippur and all of everything else, but I didn't have an understanding of the broader African connection.
Okay.
And many people in my family, they were like, I'm not African.
Mm.
I'm Black.
Yeah.
It's like it's this different thing.
Yeah.
And so that was a lot of growing up. That's why there was no interest in coming to Africa or any part of Africa, or even learning or understanding that there were countries in Africa.
Right.
Yeah.
There were cultures in Africa. There were different languages. There were different complexions. There were different hair textures. There were
Yeah.
different people
Yeah.
throughout the continent. So I went through my whole life, growing up. I'm known as a serial entrepreneur. So I've been a radio announcer. I've done a lot of, I produce documentaries. I own a landscaping and snow removal company. So I sold watermelons
nice.
out the back of a truck.
Wow.
So that might be tapping into some things there. I got that hustle thing happening. I see
Yeah.
folks walking around
Yeah.
hustling and doing their thing. So I connect with that. But then as I was getting older, I said to myself, I've not seen the world.
Mm.
My family didn't travel. So my mother didn't travel. My grandparents did a little bit of traveling. And I said, if I'm not careful,
Mm.
I will leave this world and would not have seen it.
Yeah.
And I would have worked to make someone else rich. And here I am.
Real.
Yeah, I mean, I would have worked my whole life to make someone else rich, hoping, wishing one day that I would get out and see the world. And I had to be very intentional. And I remember it was one birthday, and I said to myself, that's it. I said, I cannot do this anymore. I said, I'm working I'm doing the 9 to 5. That's how we do it in the States.
Yeah.
And I said, if I don't get out of this cycle, my life will pass me by, and I'll be 70, 80 years old talking about, man, I could have done it. And
Yeah.
the best thing I could have done
Yeah.
was get outside of that and start living. So that's a quick version of what life has been like and what kind of led me to this point, being on the grind and then getting to a point of saying, I can't do this anymore. I have to live the way that I want to live. And it's a beautiful thing now.
So before you came to Ghana, you traveled like to other places in the world?
Barely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you came to Ghana, that was when you started your business, your travel business. That was when it took off.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I didn't plan for that to happen.
You just had like people saying, "Oh, next time you're going, I want to come."
No, I went to Kumasi and I was in a Chinese restaurant in Kumasi. Guess that.
Right.
I was in a Chinese restaurant in Kumasi, and I was really processing everything that I was experiencing. And I said to myself, other people need to have this experience.
Right.
I said, I know how misinformed we are. And I said, if I don't do something about it, then nothing's going to change. And so in that moment, I was talking to a guy named Nana. Everybody's named Nana, right?
Right.
So I was talking to Nana and I said, now I'm going to bring a whole lot of people back. I said, I don't know how it's going to happen. I said, but it's going to happen. So in November of 2019, we brought our first group of 35 back. After that, the pandemic came. That ended all tourism.
Yeah.
But what I did, as soon as they opened the borders, now remember, the only country I've been to was Ghana. As soon as they opened the borders, I said, I went to Tanzania. And actually previously, right before that, I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania.
Oh, wow.
You got to the top.
I got to the top.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's what Ghana did to me. Ghana did that. I was like, wow.
Wow.
I said, I'm missing out on life. So I said, I needed something drastic.
Yeah.
And that was very drastic. That was a very drastic situation.
I can imagine.
So did that, then came, 2020 comes around, the pandemic hits, and I came back to Ghana and I went to Tanzania, and I said, I'm going to lay the foundation because I knew that once the pandemic released, there were going to be people who wanted to travel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
And then we came back in June of 2021. Everybody was still afraid. 7 people came.
Yeah.
Then July, 17 people came. Then in August, 20 people came. October, 7 people came. And then November, 24 people came. And this is 2021. Now, let me tell you how many people have come since then. Almost 2,000 people.
That's
Wow,
crazy.
amazing. Maximum impact, y'all.
That's crazy.
That's real.
I know my joke was lame, Zuu. Just
I
laugh.
like that transition.
Just
That
laugh.
That segue was smooth.
So yeah, I want
That
to
was
bring up a topic. I think something that we also notice is there's, like you said, there's also some apprehension on our end when it comes to African Americans coming into our country, because sometimes we also feel like you don't know about us. You come, you have your dollar that is like way more powerful than our city.
Right.
You come and you spend, and then you make things more expensive, and then you go back and tell your friends to come around, and then there's just like imported inflation, and then you still go back and then say disrespectful stuff about us.
That's real.
That's how people feel as well.
That is real.
So especially in December, there's this feeling of the African Americans are back to mess up our currency.
No, but that's real.
Sit in our cars and our restaurants, and then after that head back and then say terrible stuff about us or not allow us to come and visit.
Yeah.
So I feel like, I don't even know if this is like a question, but what's your take on that?
It's also
because really, we can't travel as
UK,
easily.
also the UK people as well. It's not just
Not just them.
UK as well. Yeah.
And we can't
do the
just
same.
like up and come to your country.
Yeah, and a lot of that goes back to obviously the U.S. government.
he said
It's
I'm not
you,
I'm not
it's
part.
you.
I'm not part.
I mean, and then the U.S. government, I'm not going to walk down that road. I don't think they're ready for all of that just yet. But the U.S. government is very intentional about who it wants in, who it wants out, and what position it wants people to be in. So unfortunately, because of the lack of cultural education and just general historical education many Black Americans have, they come to a country with a white supremacy European mindset. So they'll come in, be the same complexion,
Yeah.
but looking down on people.
Yeah.
So it's really classism too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they come
Definitely.
in.
So the way you said yes,
Yes.
Yeah, you
it's
know,
like you felt it before.
Yeah.
Hey, it is what it is.
Like I've seen it, so I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
One of the things I tell my brothers and sisters in the U.S. is please don't come. I say leave America in America. When you come, respect the people, respect the culture, because the reality is I've heard some Black Americans come over. They don't understand our history. They don't know what we went through with slavery, and they don't know what we went through with Jim Crow. I said, but do you know their history?
Yeah.
Do you know what they dealt with the colonization? Do you understand how the World Bank and IMF depresses and suppresses the currency in these countries to intentionally inflate the dollar so people can come in and exploit the economy? You know, they're like, no, I didn't know that. So, so coming in, they're going to come in December. They're going to party. They're going to drive up the price of everything. So what I try to do is to make sure that whenever we bring people in, that we are supporting the local economy. So we try to make sure if you have a quality restaurant that's Ghanaian owned, then that's where we're going. Or if it's in Tanzania, that's where we go. We make sure that we work with people on the ground and make sure they're compensated properly. So because the other thing that I see that'll happen is many will come from the UK or from wherever, the US, and they'll say, ooh, I can get cheap labor.
Yes.
I don't like that. I know what you're thinking about. He's thinking about someone who has been doing
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Look, I can get cheap labor. I can get a housemaid. I can get and not even think in terms of, okay, you can make this a win-win. I understand you're trying to save some money, but at least elevate the person in that economy.
Yeah.
Don't now say, okay, I can get this person for 100 CDs a day.
And that's what they give them, so it's fine.
Right, where you can clearly afford 300, 400, 500 CDs a day, and it won't even hurt you.
Yeah.
So again, that's what it goes back to. And the people who work with us, you will find the people who work with us, I'm very intentional about finding out what they want to do. So you tell me what you want. And they say, I want to go and, I want to build a house, or I want to finish my education. We do everything we can to make sure that happens.
Nice.
So they understand. And then I'm very adamant about when my clients come over, making sure they tip properly.
Yeah.
Not just coming, I'm going to give you 100 CDs and I've been serving you for 9-10 days. Like, no. You might want to turn that into $100.
Yeah, at least. Yeah.
Real.
That's real. I mean, and so, but those are things that many of us don't understand because we're thinking we're going to London in our minds. Okay, I'm going to Africa, but I'm going with a London mindset. And unfortunately, many of us, we do have a culture shock because we might see the roads are bumpy, but I'm saying, well, in the U.S. 80 years ago, the roads were the same way.
Yeah.
I mean, they just paid. I remember back in like the 90s and the 2000s, there were still roads that have not been paved in the U.S. There's still homeless people. There's still conditions in the U.S. that I don't know how we miss it, but that are in need of repair. So the thing that I'm realizing is that once people have the exposure, like say for example, when you all associate with more Black Americans, then you'll see we have more in common than differences. And more people are coming over, and they're not looking to cause hyperinflation. Oh, they don't even realize it's hyperinflation because it's the business owners. It's the old brony price that comes in.
Yeah,
they're going to charge you 5 times the amount. And I said, well, they're going to shoot their shot. If we were on the flip side of that, I would shoot my shot too.
For sure.
If you have dollars and I need dollars and I'm trying to feed my family, and the economy is supporting me on CDs, I'm trying to get some dollars.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's, it's amazing what you all do with your podcast and the reach that you have and the equipment that you have. I'm looking and I'm seeing that's the same piece of equipment, the Roadcaster right there. It's the same one I have, in the States, and so it's good to see that you're able to reach so many people with these important conversations. But, how does it feel, I wonder, when you see, because that's the first time I've heard that when you see all of the people coming for December, in my mind, I'm thinking, well, that would be a good thing because it brings more money into the economy, but you put a different perspective on it. So what is that like, here when you see all of these folks coming in?
So we started on Twitter first of all. I feel like the fight already starts from Twitter.
I think it does, economically, it does bring more money into the country, but we don't feel it on the ground. Yeah,
because it stays at the top.
Yes, we feel the opposites. So, like she was saying, I think the example that hits home the hard, especially for women, is when people come and go and get their braids.
Oh.
That's the one, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And then they do the TikToks. Oh my God, I went to Africa and I got my braids for just
$20
or whatever.
Or just $10.
Yeah. But then that $10 or $20, most of the people here can't afford it. And that's not what they pay for the braids. Right. So the hairdressers are also seeing these. Everybody's on TikTok.
So the hairdresser will see it and be like, okay, I can change my prices.
Right. Like this shop is taking this much for braids. I bet. Next time when somebody comes, I'm upping my price. And then it kind of prices out the locals.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
I got it.
So it's like on the ground, you don't feel that there's money coming into the economy. You are feeling the opposite.
So it's almost like a class structure. So the middle class will get that money. On the upper,
maybe more upper. It's more upper.
Class will get the money.
Yeah.
And I don't even like using upper and lower and all of that. But from an economic standpoint, those who don't have the means per se won't realize the dead of December.
Exactly. Because basically, everybody understands that a lot of people are coming into Ghana from outside with foreign currencies, which are stronger than the local currency. So everybody raises their prices because it's like a time to maximize profits.
Exactly.
Yeah, the hotels, trust me, I know.
Yeah, exactly. The price, like December price, is different from the rest of the year price. Yeah. So when that happens, they don't look at your face and say, okay, you live in Ghana, so your price. No. Everybody's paying that price.
Yeah.
You see, so the prices are a lot of people.
Even the Ubers get so crazy. The prices go like 5 times, 6 times normal. Yeah. Taxi prices, everything. The only thing that stays the same is churchill, because the churchills, you can't trick us. But the taxis.
But the people, the Black Americans not getting in trouble.
Exactly. But I'm saying for the Ghanaians.
Yeah.
So if you're a regular Ghanaian and you have to stay, if you're a regular Ghanaian, but you're middle class and you can afford an Uber, you would be forced to take a churchill because that's the only thing that is going to stay stable. The Uber prices are going to go very high, stupidly high. So it's just like a weird dynamic. And I think also there's, as you spoke about, like the whole classism thing, even on Twitter, we see people talking about how like, oh, my landing girl is coming and she's bringing like all of these fancy things for me, like the boys, like sometimes like they'll be trolling like their own girls, like, oh, my landing girl is coming and she's bringing like all these nice things from me, or like, oh, the boys are coming to take all the girls kind of thing. So there's already that subtle thing where it's like, okay, this girl has come in, this African American is here, she just got her braids done at this place for this price, wearing all her fancy clothes, looking very American and very fresh and clean, and I'm the local kind of thing.
Interesting.
Exactly.
I've never
So
really
there's-
heard it from the woman's perspective, you know.
Yeah, really.
I've never heard
So have you heard
it.
it from the boy's perspective?
I just see it happen, but
You just see
I've
it
never
happen.
like thought of how it feels for
The woman.
the Ghanaian women.
Me and Kasa and Hami, but like,
Do you know what they call them the boys call the local girls baller beds.
oh
You
no,
know,
Oh, but
it's
that's
true.
all right. Wait, what's that mean?
Bola is
Bola is
rubbish,
like
like, a
rubbish.
vulture.
Oh, really?
So yeah,
Like
so
a
like
vulture,
the birds
yeah.
that fly around the bins.
Wow.
So they call you know how people, I mean, around the world, people call women birds. So,
Okay.
baller bed.
Bola birds.
Yeah, baller bed. So it's like,
It's like the real fresh blood is coming,
Yeah,
and we
yeah,
are here
that's-
with you already. So it's like
cast
Same
you,
old,
cast
same
you aside
old.
for a month or two.
exactly,
Hey, we can have that going on in the States.
exactly,
Yeah, I would say
true.
that's a man
Exactly.
thing all over.
Exactly.
I'm like, well, this is not foreign as far as the
Exactly.
concept. Okay, I get it. I get
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So there's
Yeah.
already that like subtle like feeling of being inferior, and then someone is going to come and sit by you and be like, oh, but this is just £2, this is just £5, and
Okay.
it's not that deep, but like these little things make it seem like, oh, these people are back again and they think they are better than us. Because they wouldn't actually sit and have a conversation with an African American and understand like their perspective and vice versa.
Well, a lot of that does happen. I have culture trainings for my groups to make sure they don't bring that attitude. It's like, do not go to any country or disrespect the people
Yeah.
that are working with us. And we even have a code of conduct that we will remove people from our tours if they're coming and being mean and nasty. And because I know my people.
Yeah.
We're not all like that, but enough of us are that we have to prepare them because it is what it is. And so there are a lot of loving, well-intentioned
Yeah.
Black Americans who come
Yeah.
who are not looking at everybody like charity cases. They are coming to learn. But then you got that other bunch
Yeah.
that's coming over like them Africans and all this other kind of stuff. And now, flip side, let me put this out there.
Yeah.
There's this thing going on in the U.S. now where you have a lot of Black Americans who are upset when you have Africans
Mm-hmm.
that come to the U.S.
Mhm.
that take advantage of the resources in the U.S. that our forefathers in the U.S. have, pretty much bled and died for, and coming in and disrespecting that effort. So so it's like
It's basically like
yeah,
it's
it's
very
deep.
complicated. Yeah.
Yeah, because like you were talking about in December, you have a whole group of people in the U.S. that are upset when people from Nigeria come or Ghana or wherever, and they're like, no, you're not coming to take all of the stuff that our ancestors in America built, or they're showing disrespect. Because there's this thing to say, well, Black Americans are lazy. They have all of these opportunities and they're not taking advantage of them. We're criminals. We're fatherless. We're drug addicts. I say we're lazy already.
Yeah.
And then that's the thing that people, they have the talk.
Yeah.
They call it the talk.
Yeah.
And then they meet some of us who are not. And they're like, oh, wait a minute. Like I went to Nigeria and I was keeping step with every Nigerian. They're like, well, where are you from? I was like, I'm from the U.S. for real. And then they looked at me and said, you look like you're Igbo. You look Igbo. I think you're from Nigeria. I said, I have a lot of Nigerian DNA in me, but you have a lot of Black Americans that hustle just as hard as anyone on the continent.
Yeah.
But then you have some lazy ones.
Yeah.
But I've seen some
Same
lazy
here.
I've seen lazy folks running around Ghana and South Africa and other places in Kenya. So it goes back to us understanding. And the beautiful part I can say is that my teams, we have, like right now, I have 3 groups in Ghana. And we have a group in South Africa. We have more than 100 people on the ground on the continent of Africa. I'm able to sit down and talk to you guys.
Yeah.
And the people that work with us on the teams are all native to the continent of Africa. There is not one Black American leading any tour on this continent right now.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm very proud of. Not that I'm showing shade or anything to my people. but
Yeah.
the people who are coming over are Black Americans, but they're being led by continental Ghanaians or South Africans or Tanzanians.
Yeah.
And they're having that experience and they're being loved on by them, they're being taken care of. And that's how we bridge that gap. And and the people are being well taken care of, they're being compensated properly, they're advancing in their life. And it's not this thing of being exploited, because I know what it's like to be exploited in the US. I know what it's like to be on the bottom of the barrel, if you will. But when I'm looking at our operations manager in Tanzania, built a home for her grandmother. First time she flew on a plane was working with us. Our operations manager here in Ghana, first time flying on a plane with us. She's traveled, I think, like 10 different countries within the past 2 years. So she got her master's degree. She's thinking about getting her doctorate degree. I'm looking at one of our lead tour guides. He was driving taxi, but now he's been able to pay for his daughter to go to school. He doesn't even drive taxi anymore because he's seeing it. He's working for it. It's not a charity case. If people want to, I just want to give money. Okay, well, tip them well because for the service and the work that they've done.
Yeah.
So it has an incredible. It's a morale boost. The people are willing to serve, and they see. It's almost like they see that. Africans are not like this. All Africans are not like this, and all Black Americans are not like this. And it's a reciprocal relationship where they're able to exchange, and you see them connecting with each other. And it's a beautiful thing. It's the most beautiful, most rewarding thing that I've ever done. And it's not even about the money. Yeah, it's about seeing how you talk about maximum impact, how the lives are being impacted. Yeah, and just like we had Anthony come. So when Anthony came. And he shared on the podcast. He said some things that were, a little misinformed. But I was really messing with your dad. Anthony. I was really proud of him because he owned it. Yeah. He couldn't have said, "Let me just go underneath the rock and just
act like it never happened."
But he said, "You know what? I'm gonna own it." He said, "We were planning a trip to go to Egypt," but he said, "No, I need to go to another part of Africa. I need to go where it's really connecting," and that's what he did. And he came here. And I watched this man's life change. I watched the clip, and I watched the transformation to the point where he's like, "I got to come back," and he's bringing another group back because, it's in a part of how you all welcomed him, and as a part of how the Ghanaian culture welcomed him, even after making a mistake with his words, he was able to come in and get some sort of redemption. Yeah. And that's a good thing because you all could have been like, "I'm gonna put the man on my podcast." Who said that? People, man. And I understood what happened because there's so many other people who think like that. Yeah. He was the perfect person to be in that position because he had a level of humility to where, I'm learning. And I'm coming, and there are other people who are going to follow. One, they're going to watch and listen to what you all are saying. And then they're going to be curious and say, "You know what? I think I need to readjust my mindset too." So, so what you all are doing is tremendous, and I saw you all battling over who had the #1 podcast in the world. but it's good to see what you're doing here in Ghana and how you all are not just touching Ghana, but you're touching other parts of the continent. Yeah. And having real conversations. And so that's good.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, we have maybe 10 minutes to go. Cool. So what was I gonna say? It was very smart.
You got it, man. You got it.
But yeah, so let's talk more about maximum impact. So assuming there's people in the States, or do you take groups from outside the States?
Everywhere. We have people come from Europe, Canada, sure. Okay,
so if there's people watching and they want to get in touch with you and join you on one of your trips, how do they do that?
Very easy. Go to maximumimpacttravel.com, or you can follow me, J Cameron Official, on IG or Facebook or TikTok, and then all the details are there, and you'll be able to see the different testimonials and the different experiences that people have. We go to Africa. We go to 15 different countries in Africa. We go to South America. We go to Brazil and Colombia. And we also go to Central America, Costa Rica, Panama. And then we go to Cuba. And we have some trips within the United States as well. Also into Europe. We do London and Paris. And all of the trips are focused on the African diaspora. There's a huge African diaspora in London, a huge African diaspora in Paris. And of course, when you get into Cuba, into the Caribbean, you definitely see a huge African diaspora. And Brazil has the largest population of African descendant people outside of the continent of Africa. Brazil has more than 100 million Afro-Brazilians, and that's 3 times the amount of Afro-Americans. So it's really fascinating. And that's what we do. Yeah,
that's crazy.
So we got to get you all on our trip.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
We should do a Stay By Plan X maximum impact.
We should.
Trip. It would be fun.
You got me thinking that.
We should.
We can make that happen.
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Okay. hey, watch what
Watch
happens.
this space.
We'll
Save
be
our
the-
plan.
we'll
and
be
maximum
there.
impact.
Yeah.
We'll be there. Yeah. So
Before we wrap up, I have to ask
yeah.
my favorite question, which is like when you started this whole thing, what was the vibe from your family?
Oh,
Were they
goodness.
like, oh my God, this boy is crazy?
I was teased by family members. I was mocked. I was told that I was going through some sort of crisis in my life. I was told that I was
Mental
why do you want to
crisis.
go to Africa? What is going on with you? I'm trying to think of all the different comments. I was told that, when I came back into the States that I needed to fumigate my bag.
Oh my gosh.
You brought malaria.
Right, bringing malaria and bugs back. And I was like, you know what? But, a lot of them have actually gone on different trips and they've had their own encounter. So it's not anything where, sometimes you have to be the pioneer.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to be the one that does not. It's like, I don't care what they have to say.
Yeah.
Because I'm free. I'm no longer ignorant to those things. I'm not looking on Google Earth anymore trying to figure out, where's the huts and
Where's that?
and there are huts in Africa. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I've been in the Maasai village and I've been inside of the hut in the Maasai village, but I have a tremendous respect for the Maasai people
Yeah.
and that
100%.
indigenous way of living. It's very cool inside of that hut. There's a lot that we can learn from an architectural standpoint. I might not be the one that's I might not be able to eat the same foods because it'll just destroy my,
You're not
I'm
built,
just
you're
not
not
ready.
built, you're not
Don't
built that
worry.
way, yeah.
Even
Yeah.
I can't eat it, so it's not like,
I'm not ready
don't
for
sweat
that,
it.
to just be. But I have a respect for every indigenous culture. I don't come in looking down on anybody. And that took for me being here and receiving the love. And because they could look at me like I'm different, but they're like, hey, come on and sit down and just have a conversation. Even in Egypt, which is a place where they say, it's a lot of Arabs.
Yeah.
They're not going to like you in Egypt. I'm in Cairo, sitting down in a home with a family. All they could speak was Arabic. I'm sitting on the floor with them, and we're all eating from the same plate. I couldn't speak the language, but what they did, they were so hospitable. They brought the tea out. They
The point are they like,
they're like, come on. And I'm saying, I'm looking around. I knew one guy in there, he did speak English, but I was like, okay, am I okay? They were like, no, come on. I crashed the Egyptian wedding. I'm on the dance floor with the bride and groom in the middle of the wedding. The reception. And I'm saying, what am I doing here? And everybody's looking at me like, come on.
Yeah.
So it's what it does, and this is what I encourage everyone, wherever you're watching, is to get outside of that box. When you get outside of the box, something happens to you as a person, and you begin to become a different person.
Real. Yeah.
And that's the person I was 5 years ago is not who I am today.
Yeah.
And coming in, when I land in Accra, it's just like me landing in DC. I get that same feeling. When I walk out of the airport and I feel that heat, it's like, ooh, I'm back home. That heat, anytime I'm like, wow, it'll hit you, especially in December.
Yeah.
And I just love that part of the journey. So whatever, when they were talking, I don't care because, hey, they're still, if they choose to say, continue doing that, okay. But everybody has a different time.
Yeah.
And sometimes we are the ones who have to be the pioneers and take the bumps and the bruises. So to pave the way for someone else who might not be able to handle it. So so that's the
I remember my really smart question now. So
Woo.
it's not that smart, but like, is there one, or if you had to pick one specific story from someone you brought on a trip where you felt like the most fulfilled, like, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm doing this thing. Like, what's that one story?
Ooh, I don't know if it's one.
Good question.
I don't know if it's one story, but I do remember.
Oh, the first one that comes to mind.
Okay, well, recently, we have a lot of people who are our elders. So they're in their 70s and 80s. I mean, we have all ages to travel with us. But they will tell me that it's their first time ever being on a plane and their first time ever taking an international trip. And they're 70, 80, some of them 90 years old and never traveled outside of the U.S. And they felt comfortable enough to come halfway across the world with us. So last night, there was a lady at the hotel. She said, this is my first flight and my first international trip. Another lady went with us to Egypt. She said, I'm 63 years old and I've never been on a plane before. And I came all the way over to Egypt.
Wow.
So those are memories that stick out. But Mr. Doyle, he turned 78. This is maybe last year, the year before last. He came and his wife came. and they both turned 78. And he's a former. He fought in the Vietnam War for the United States.
Okay.
And he came and he talked about how he had never been, and he was so glad that he came. But the only person he was going to come to Africa with was us.
Aw.
And so when I see our way of honoring our elders by bringing them and creating that bridge, I think those are the memories that I hold on. Because a lot of times we forget our elders.
Yeah.
Oh, they're getting old. Put them in a home somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's let them live.
Yeah.
Let's show them the world. And then I'll give you this last one. About a month ago, a good friend of mine, Freddie Taylor, he's one of our travel partners with Urban Intellectuals. We took his 94-year-old father to Cuba.
Whoa.
He said he would, Mr. Freddie said he wanted to go to Cuba. I said, come on, Freddie, his son. I said, come on, let's take him to Cuba. And he was in Cuba, he was dancing, and the cars there, cars that came out when he was a child. And I'll never forget that. So honoring our elders, and I believe that when it's my turn to become an elder, then there'll be someone come along and go, come on, Mr. J,
Let's
come
go.
to go. You already know I've been everywhere. I'm gonna take you somewhere else. And so, I just hope that, when the story is written, that is remembered. But then also for the generations that come after me, that they have that same reverence and respect for our elders and recognizing the importance of what they have to offer. So great question. That
Was a great question, Zuu.
So
This was a good one.
It's one of my favorite episodes this year, actually.
Yeah.
I love the conversations we've had today with you and also last time with Anthony. So I'm just glad we get to talk about these things, and hopefully together we can kind of like repair the bridges, because like you said, we are really, at the end of the day, we're one people. So we just need to like fix the connection.
Yeah.
And we can thrive together. So
Well, thank you for having me, and I appreciate, everything that you guys are doing.
Thank you so much.
And any way that I can support, we're gonna have you on my show. So we're gonna have this conversation because we're gonna dive into it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate being here and allowing me to just share, so people can get a different perspective.
Yeah, for sure.
100%.
For sure.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for joining us as well.
Make sure you follow Jay Cameron. Make sure you follow Maximum Impact, and make sure you follow Stay By Plan.
Yes. Bye.
Stay by plan, Accra, stay by plan. All the boys, all the girls, for stay by plan. Stay by plan, stay by plan. All the boys, all the girls, for stay by plan.